Today we'll be doing a pelvic stability routine. Let's get started. We're moving into a hinge and press. Standing with your feet hip distance apart, elbows 90 at the sides. Squeeze your shoulder blades, drive your hips back in hinge over, flat back. Extend your arms, bring the elbows back to 90 and then stand up. Repeating this movement for 45 seconds. So we're working up on opening up and warming up the posterior chain. Keep the tension between your shoulder blades, slight bend in the knees, loading the hamstrings as you drive those hips back. Focus on full extension, pressing the arms all the way straight before you bring them back. All right, and time's up. Come back to center. We're moving into inchworms. Start standing on one side of your mat. You're going to fold forward, rounding your spine, soften the knees as you need to, and walk it out to a high plank. From there, walking your feet slowly towards your hands, just as close as you can. Stand up and repeat the movement for 45 seconds. So letting your back round, opening up in the spine and the back of the legs, holding in that high plank for a second, and then walking your feet towards your hands before you stand up. All right, and time's up. Come back to center. We're moving into standing pelvic tilts. So standing comfortable on your mat, have a soft bend in the knees. From here, I want you to start by exaggerating, letting your low back go and almost sticking your butt out. Then from here, we're going to take our lower abs and top abs and try to meet them together as we rotate our pelvis under, squeezing the glutes, contracting the core, hold, and the relax back out. So just repeating that movement of the contraction, pause, and then relaxing for 45 seconds. So really focus on tucking the hips under, top abs and bottom abs coming together, squeezing and pausing before you release. So we're focusing on the pelvic stabilizer muscles as well as the really deep core muscles. All right, and time's up. Come back to center and relax. We're moving into a single leg deadlift with a mini band. So taking that band and placing it around the widest part of your foot, standing up nice and tall, chest pressed, tension between your shoulder blades. From here, letting the other leg fall back as you hinge at the hips, bringing your chest to face the ground, loading the back of the leg, then driving down through the heel and forward through the hip. We're repeating this movement for 45 seconds. So keep that chest pressed, squeeze your shoulder blades, and really focus on hips back. It's not about how far down you go, focus more on pushing the hips back. And with that single leg, I really want you to focus on keeping your hips even. So that one that's falling back, make sure it's not opening out to the side. Think about your hips having headlights. You want them to face the same direction. All right, time's up on that side. Go ahead and switch. So around the widest part of the foot and repeating for 45 seconds. When you come up at the top, squeezing the glute of the leg you're working. All right, and time's up. Release your foot and come back to center. We're moving into a hip bridge lift. Lying on your back, feet are planted, knees are up, arms relaxed out to the sides. From here, have your feet at least hip distance apart, drive down through the heels and up through the hips. You're squeezing the glutes and we're holding. From here at the top, you're gonna alternate, keeping one leg planted, extending the other one straight, keeping your thighs even and your hips stable. So you're not rocking or moving side to side. Slight pause, bring the leg back in, and then repeat that lift on the other side. We're gonna alternate for 45 seconds. So your main goal is to keep the hips still as if you were always having two legs down as we alternate one at a time. So you can have your arms relaxed out or on your hips as a helpful reminder to keep them stable. Remember to keep those hips pressed up, engaging the glutes as we do this. All right, time's up. Lower your hips and come back to a comfortable seated position on your mat. We're moving into vacuums. Lying on your back, feet planted, knees bent. Upper body is relaxed, arms to your sides. From here, you're gonna do a normal breath in, filling your lungs and your belly, and then exhale all of your air out. So out through the lungs and empty the abdomen. From here, holding your breath out, you're gonna draw your belly button in towards your spine. So sucking your core in, hold that contraction and your breath. Now, as you need to breathe, you're keeping your core in and you're just breathing from the lungs. So just the upper abdomen as you need that breath, holding that contraction for 15 seconds. You can place your hand on your abdomen too if that helps remind you to really keep that belly button drawn in towards the spine. All right, relax. So let the contraction go, reset. Big breath in and big breath out. All of the air in your lungs and your abdomen, keep it out, suck in, and now shallow breathing as you need to, holding for another 15 seconds. Really focus on drawing that core in as hard as you can. And relax. Okay, one more set. So big breath in and then out, all of the air out, hold it out. Now draw the belly button in, squeeze and hold. Shallow breathing is needed for a final 15 seconds. All right, time's up. You can relax and come back to center on your mat. We're moving into bird dog. Coming into tabletop position on your mat, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, feet are relaxed. From here, take your hips and tucking them under slightly to make sure that low back is neutral, belly button is drawn in. Holding that position, you're gonna extend your opposite arm and leg out, keeping them in line with your body. Pause, then bring it back in and repeat on the other side. We're alternating for 45 seconds. Think about keeping your hips even as you extend that leg out, just so that when you're lifting, it's not higher. So tucking it down, really focus on using pelvic stability and engaging your core. All right, time's up. Come back to center. We're moving into a seated leg raise. Sitting up nice and tall on your mat, having your legs extended out in front of your body straight, hands in behind for support. You want a nice tall torso, toes are pulled towards the shin. From here, you're gonna lift one leg, keeping it straight, up, engaging in the hip flexor, setting it back down, and repeating on the other side. We're gonna alternate for 45 seconds. So keeping your chest up tall, using your hands in behind for support. It's going to be a small movement as you want to keep that leg straight and really just focus on the hip flexor doing the work. You might also be feeling a bit into the quads as they're working to keep that leg straight on the lift. Try to control the movement on the way down as well as the way up. So gently setting that leg back down. All right, time's up. Come back to center. We're moving into a prone back reach. Coming onto your belly on the mat, you're going to extend both your arms and your legs out. Bringing your chin to your chest so you can relax your head down. From here, we're going to raise our chest up and lift one of our arms, swing it out to the side, and then if you can, do a little bit more of a bend to reach that hand towards that back foot, bring it back and relax back down. Alternating your side, lift the chest, swing the arm, and then reach for that foot before you bring it back in. We're going to alternate for 45 seconds. Definitely doesn't have to be a big range of motion. Just focus on what you can do. Think about contracting in the back to lift the chest, and then a little bit further to reach for that back foot. All right, time's up. Bring yourself back up to center on your mat. Nice work today. Let's get into our cool down. We're going to stretch out the hamstrings with a dynamic seated split. So coming into position, sitting up nice and tall, drawing your legs as wide as you can that still allows you to sit upright. From here, rotating your chest towards one foot and hinging, keeping the back nice and flat, chest tall, reaching with your hands just as far as you can. Once you're in that position, you're going to slowly walk your hands out in front, all the way over to the other side, rotate your chest, slight pause, and just keep going back and forth for 1 minute. So take your time. If one side feels really tight, you can hang out there for a few seconds before you continue moving those hands back and forth. You want to try your best to keep those toes facing upright. All right, and time's up. Relax back at center. We're stretching out the back with a dynamic seated twist, either sitting with your legs crossed or extending them slightly out, heels down, toes up, with a bend in the knee. From here, opposite hand to outside of the knee, you're going to press against the leg and rotate your spine, sitting up nice and tall, holding for a second, and then alternating to the other side. So we're moving back and forth for 45 seconds. Keeping a nice tall back and chest as you do so, reaching and pressing against the leg to rotate. All right, time's up. Just sit comfortably on your mat. That's all for today. Great work, and we'll see you tomorrow.